I'm ready. I was sorry. I was telling myself I'm ready. Sorry, not sorry. Hello. Hola. Bonjour. Konnichiwa. Sat Shri Akal. Hello in every other language that I haven't said hello in. My name is Kamel Jamal Rule, and you are listening to the Golden Rule. Shout out to you for making it this far in this journey of podcastage. You listened to the first episode, which was the syllabus. You listened to the second episode where we talked about love. You listened to the third episode where we discussed the evolution of hobbies. You tuned into the fourth episode where we talked about the relationship umbrella. You listened deeply to the fifth episode where we talked about romantic relationships. You might have shed a tear, connecting with some relatables from that episode. You listened to episode 6, which was called Sex. It fits together. Hopefully you had a good time listening to that. Then you listened to episode 7, which was titled Infidelity and Honesty. Hopefully that did not bring back bad memories. That's why this current episode is called The Mind. In this episode, we will discuss the mind. We will discuss the history of the mind-body argument. I don't even know why that was such an argument, but people argued about things for long periods of time long ago. I like to keep it basic around here, basically deeply basic. I don't think, it has to be that difficult to figure out. Especially with, some scientific facts that we do have about our mind and our brain. But before we get into that, I wanted to thank you again. We have to shout out our sponsors. My free will, my choices from my brain and my mind. Shout out to all my peoples. I might have talked to you today. Today is a day. I will not give the date of the day. But hopefully I talked to you. If not, maybe I left you a digital heart on one of your stories, or I might have sent you a DM message. Maybe it was your birthday today. Maybe we have plans to get brunch tomorrow. Maybe I'm going to hit you back on the phone about dinner plans tonight. But if you are one of these people that I'm referring to, shout out to you. If you're not, also shout out to you. Maybe you're just somebody who's listening. Maybe you're somebody who doesn't know me. And with that said, I have an email for this podcast for all business inquiries. It should be on my IG, but if you cannot see it on my IG and you can't just tap that little button that says, get in contact with this person, it's questions for Kamel, KAIMEL @gmail.com. Once again, questions for Kamel @gmail.com. Remember I told you episode 12 is titled Questions. That's where I will be fielding questions and comments from you, anonymous, non-anonymous, however you want to propose them. I will be fielding these questions, or other inquiries, whatever you may have. So yeah, hit me and I will hit you back on the Gmail, like G's. All right, let's get into this. The mind. By definition, shout out to my people at Oxford. Shout out to my nigga Webster. The element of a person that enables them to be aware of the world and their experiences, to think and to feel. The faculty of consciousness and thought, or a person's intellect. I think that is a perfect definition for the mind. This wasn't always the definition. Long ago, philosophers, those jokes about philosophers, they were dudes that used to sit around in robes all day just thinking about thinking. All day with their friends. They would think about thinking. all day and just come up with things. And somebody would say something, and then somebody would say, no, that's not true because I think this, and this is true. And then a third person would come up and say, you know what? Neither of you are right because I'm right, and this is what's true. And that train of thought would go on and on and on. And you're like, damn, Kamel, that's like what happens today when I step outside and talk about something. And it's kind of true. But yeah, long ago, they were trying to figure out if the mind was even a part of your body. That's the why it was called the mind-body problem. There were different titles for these theories. One of them that is very popular was called dualism. And people still believe in dualism in different ways. But it was the argument that the mind was an independent existing substance. Yep, that's what it was. Basically saying it was independent from your body. And I've heard this before recently with one of my friends that I talk with. Shout out to her. She's my astrology friend. She always hips me on astrology. So shout out to you, Kayla. Thank you very much. We don't have an argument because it's really not that passionately fueled. We just discuss these things in a safe place, a safe, healthy place. We talk about different things. Talk with different people about these things. And one thing I've heard recurring is that your mind is not in your brain. I don't believe that. I believe that my mind is definitely in my brain, because if we stick with that definition about the mind being the thing that enables me to be aware of the world, I feel like my mind has to be in my brain. Because if my brain didn't work, I would not be able to speak my mind. I've seen things on the internet. I was going to say, an internet app, but yes, basically on the internet, where, your mind is like your soul and it's not a part of you because it floats around and things like that. And I understand what they are saying when they say that, but I don't think it's necessarily true. I think that truthfully and basically, we can help ourselves vastly by accepting that your mind is in your brain. If, you were going back and arguing about it or, debating about the situation. Long ago, a homie named John Locke, shout out to him. He was an ancient philosopher, one of those dudes that thunk about thinking and talk to his homies about it. He said that no person could understand anything, extending past their senses, past their experience. Like everything that you learn, is based on your experience. And when I heard that, I was like, damn, this makes sense. And like thinking people, we ask why. And it's not that we try and, find faults in things or argue against anything. It's just that curiosity of, okay, is this true? Is this 100% true? I was blown away by it, and I was like, this is such simple information. It's like, it's deeply basic to me. It's like, so I can't learn anything unless I've really experienced it. And this starts with your sensory organs. Your brain is an organ. And, all these sensory organs we know of are, kind of computed from our brain, which is why I said my mind is in my brain. But anywho, so your sensory organs, your eyes, ears, tongue, nose, and skin, those are your 5 senses. And that's how you experience things. I don't know what something looks like unless I see it. I don't know how something tastes unless I taste it. I don't know how something sounds unless I hear it. I don't know how something smells unless I smell it, or how it feels unless I touch it. Which is really important to be paired with memories going forward with, PTSD. Excuse me. Let me move my seat back a little bit. Just to let you know, I am drinking, before I get back into that, I am drinking what is this? Lettuce, banana, water, and apple smoothie. Super fire. I had a salad, a chicken Caesar salad, and the rest of the salad I used to blend into a smoothie. Highly recommended. But back to what I was saying about experiences. You know how our minds have memories, and if you connect from the last episode, because all these episodes connect together in certain ways. You know, I talked about like small lies, like the Santa Claus lie, lies of infidelity, you know, lies told to a partner, that, you know, lead to bad feelings that we have when they are triggered. For example, maybe you're with a person and their phone's always face down, right? Now, I don't want to be the one to assume bad things all the time, but maybe, you know, you've been in a relationship where this person had their phone down all the time, face down, right? You know, the iPhone. And maybe that person cheated on you and they had their face down on their phone because they were getting messages they didn't want you to see. Or maybe this person just doesn't have a case on their phone and they don't want their camera to get scratched. But these things could lead to bad memories, you know, which are bad feelings that are brought to us from our memories. Like I said in that last episode, I believe the mind, which is inside my brain, my mind is like a big SSD, like hard drive, a big file cabinet. And I think about the time in fourth grade when I got a 4.0. Damn, I felt really good. That was the first 4.0 I had. And then in fifth grade when I didn't make honor roll, and I felt hella sad. Like I really cried at home. And then seventh and eighth grade where I didn't do the worst in school, but I also didn't do the best and I didn't really care. Like I can remember those feelings of what I was doing at that time and what I was into. And that's why I believe the mind is very important when discussing things like love, your hobbies, relationships, whether they be romantic or friends, you know, friendship relationships, whether it be sex or, you know, if you're about to lie to somebody or honesty. And if we start with the mind being so important to where everything that goes in it and everything that comes out of it be of the utmost importance, I think maybe you don't need to save yourself, but you can help yourself in areas that you really want to help yourself in. When it comes to consuming things, they say the mind is a sponge. You know, they say, hey, when you're 1 to 5 years old, your mind is such a sponge. I believe my mind is a sponge right now. You can tell me if you want to, but I don't have to believe you, and it's not true. What I mean is, you could tell me, you know, out of your mouth that, hey, Kamel, your mind's not a sponge right now. You can tell me that because you can say those things. But that's not true because I can learn anything right now. I can memorize anything right now. Maybe it won't be as direct as when I'm, you know, 5 years old or 1 year old, you know, between 1 through 5. And my mom's like, say mama. And I'm like, mama. And I just say it over and over again. Maybe it might not be that easy, that spongeable. But things I read, you know, I can easily read and understand and remember information right now at 36. So I believe that, you know, things are still being figured out about the mind. Our minds are developing every day. Maybe you spend so much time on the computer and maybe, you know, you need the computer to work. Maybe you've built a routine on the computer, built a routine in your mind and with your actions on a daily basis with needing the computer to work. Maybe you're very particular with words and you've learned that in the last few moments of your life. Maybe you weren't always like that. And that's why I said the mind is always changing. I was always a very curious person. I've become more literal. One thing I want to give an example of. You know, when somebody says nobody cares, my first thought is, what do you mean nobody? There's 8 billion people in the world. So for nobody to care, you would have to, interview 8 billion people to make sure that nobody cares before you say nobody cares. I think when people say nobody cares, they just basically mean I don't care. And to stop talking about it because I don't care, which means nobody cares, which is not true though. Or if you say everybody feels this way, everybody does this. Again, on the flip side, there's 8 billion people in the world. So to, truthfully say that everybody does this or everybody feels this way, you would have to take a survey of 8 billion people, to make sure everybody does this. This is just an example of how the mind evolves. I feel like the mind evolves through situations, through experiences, through things we read. Definitely through experiences I've had with people. I've been through experiences and I've done things and they've worked out and I've wanted to do them again. And then maybe it didn't work out. So maybe I thought differently, like, how can I elevate on this? How can I not do this? Going to school, putting more time into school, putting more time into work, putting more time into friendships, communicating more, being more honestly open with people. In the last few years, I've never felt bad for being honest. And I'm not like disrespectfully honest. I probably said this a million times, but this comes through experience. Like, I think about situations in my head and I'm like, if I said this to this person, I don't know if they'd react, in a pleasant way. So I'm pretty much just not even going to try it, not even going to attempt it. And this is through experience of seeing somebody react in a terrible way. I remember one time I was 15, right? I'm 15. I'm at the Rage. Shout out to you if you've ever been to the Rage. It was an under 18 club. So shout out to our parents for sending us to clubs at a young age. They were like, hey, just go have fun. It's just dancing, in a room full of people. What's the worst that could happen? Nothing really bad happened. It was super cool there. But this one time, and this takes me into positive trauma, because I think this was a positive trauma, if you believe in positive traumas. So I was walking, right? The music's blasting. It was probably Lil Jon and the East Side Boys. To the window. That song that was playing every day in the early 2000s. So we're walking around. I see this girl. She's super fine. I'm like, ooh, I would like to dance with her. That would be fire. She's walking away from me, though. I don't even know if she saw me. So I follow this girl. I'm following her. I'm like, ooh, I have to get this girl's attention. And I'm trying to yell, but it's hella loud. She can't hear me. So what do? Impulsively, I reach my hand out and I put it on her hip. Not like her low hip, like a safe hip place. Not like I'm trying to grab her and like touch her and grope her, but that I'm basically trying to say, hey, there's a hand on you real quick, trying to get your attention. Please turn around. And she turns around and she says, no. She didn't even see me. She literally turned around and was saying no, but like as she was making that 180 turn. And how did I feel in this moment? I didn't even feel like not worthy or like a bad person, like I did anything wrong or that I'm ugly or anything like that. None of those feelings went through my head. I was just like, oh shit. I should probably not touch women or anybody really unless they give me that recognition to touch them or like an invitation Because otherwise, it's like, hey, I probably shouldn't do this. That was a positive trauma early in my life. You know, girls, I think this. And we were all sober. So maybe alcohol has something to do with it. Or maybe you have to make eye contact first. I've been in a few of those situations. But that taught me that, hey, never again, just don't go up and, like I said, I didn't even grab her. Don't go up and even, lay a finger on a girl until she, gives you that invitation to do so. That was stuck in my mind for a long time. I think the way we word things is important. You ever heard that quote? What is it? It's not what you say, it's how you say it. I don't think that's true. I think it's what you say and how you say it. Example, I think versus this is. One is you stating your opinion, that it is your opinion. I think, ... versus this is ... So on and so forth is the greatest rapper ever. I think so on and so forth is the greatest rapper ever. Greatest rapper debate is a really small one, but you know what I'm saying. Unless, you have definitive knowledge of something, or unless you're just trying to debate or argue with somebody, which is cool. People do that. I think words are very important. I think need is a very strong word. Should. You should. Also a very strong word. And I know what you're thinking right now. You may be thinking a million things, but you're like, hey Mel, what does this have to do with the golden rule? I think the way we treat people shapes them in how to react with us, or how they want to react to us, which is why the golden rule has evolved over time to where it was treat people how you want to be treated versus treat people how they treat you. Because if it was all good and we were just treating people how we wanted to be treated, and we were all receiving that same respect, it'd be cool. But then it morphed over time, whereas like, hey, treat people how they treat you, which is really saying like, hey, if a person is treating you bad, show them that same energy. Because not many people are saying, hey, I'm going to treat people how I want to be treated, and I'm going to treat them a bad way. That was always starting from a great place, like a great place of understanding. If in your brain, we're talking about consciousness, and they say how people, hate is a learned thing over time. Excuse me. I believe that in our natural consciousness, no kid is born just being super mean or hateful. It's all things that we see and hear and adapt to in our experience, which is a lot. It can be a lot to take in. It can be a lot to learn. And I'm still learning as time goes on. I do not have it all figured out. But I do have a good grasp on it, which is why my episode titles, I feel like, are a great place to start. When you think about love, you think about relationships, you think about sex, which is something really basic. All of those have actions intertwined with them. And from our actions, come reactions. And where does all this start? It starts in our mind. Because you can imagine a situation before you're even in it. You can be invited to a party. I used to do this a lot. Get invited to a party. And you're like, who's going to be there? Your person, whoever invited you, says, oh, so on and so on and so forth. And you might, picture the situation that you'd be walking into as a bad one because maybe you don't get along with some of those people. And that's you literally imagining a situation before you go into it, because it all starts in your mind. You know, or you could have the mindset of, oh, it doesn't really matter who's going to be at this party or at this office get together or anywhere that I go, because I'm going to bring this energy where I go. And whatever energy that's there that, doesn't connect with my energy, it doesn't really matter. Unless it's violence or something like that, then we might have a problem. But otherwise, I don't think it'll be too bad. Like, I can handle myself, no matter what type of energy or mindset is thrown at me. I have another quote I was thinking about in my mind, from the great Maya Angelou. Shout out to her. And this is not to go against this quote. This is just to elaborate on it. I feel that way with a lot of philosophical quotes back in the day, from the great philosophers. It's like they were speaking in a time, not saying that time was limited, but there's been so much more experience over time to where these quotes can really be elaborated on. This quote was, "I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." And that's a powerful quote, right? Because it's just honing in on your feelings, disregarding the actions. But I believe the things that I have said to you, the things that I've done to you, and the things that I've done with you, are the reasons why you feel the way you do about me. Because you could have just seen a picture with, or seen a picture with somebody, with me, or just seen a picture of me and have a feeling of me. Or you could feel the way you do about me based on times we spent together, based on things that I've told you, based on this situation right now of you just listening to me, and you could have resonated with something I said, right? So I feel that quote is true, but I feel like all those things, mixed together. Like, you have to get from A to B to C. Like, you will remember the way I feel, or you will remember the way you feel, because of the things I said and did. Unless I said and did nothing, and like I said, all you've done is seen me, and you're like, "Ooh, look at that guy." Then that makes sense. Goes with that quote, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. I believe it's both. It's what you say and how you say it. It may be what you do and how you do it, depending. Or you could just do some things. I think those things may be different. But if you say something that's super out of pocket and you just say it in a crazy way, I feel like that's reserved for music, not reserved for everyday life, even though music lives in everyday life. But that's crazy, right? But yeah, so how do you feel in your mind? Do you feel often anxious? Do you feel often questioning things that haven't happened yet, or questioning things that have already happened? Also a thought, do you sometimes wake up and think like, man, I was, discussing a lot of things with myself, but, I don't feel that way right now. And maybe feel like you were just really in tune with your dreams. Dreams is the title, but you know what I like to call them? Thoughts in your mind while you're sleeping. I know it's a longer title. It's easy to say dreams. But I've had dreams of people that I used to know, people that I do know, mixed together. I've had dreams about people that I just met like that day. I've had dreams about doing things with people that I would never do them with. Like this one dream I had, I proposed to this woman with like a string of paper. It was super weird. But me and her had never had a romantic relationship or anything like that. And these were just thoughts that I was having in my head. It wasn't anything to where I was like, dang, I should look into the dream book and see what that meant. I think my mind was just, constructing some shit. I just had some crazy thoughts going on. We see a lot of imagination put together in movies, short films and stuff. Who's to say that our minds just don't play those tricks, inside of our brains while we're sleeping? It's the easiest time where we don't have any control over what's going on. But what we do have is our files, like I said, in that file cabinet, that your mind has been taking in all day, the experiences that you've seen. Because never in my dreams, not that I can remember, I don't think I've ever made up anything, that's not real or that I've not seen before. Like that dream where I'm falling in a jungle and I just fall down a waterfall. Like I didn't per se make up the waterfall because I've seen the waterfall before. I've seen a jungle. Those things were just in my head from that experience. And then in my mind, I was going on that wild ride. That made me think of a part in The Matrix where they're in that big white screen and Morpheus says something like, what is real? About like neurons just, firing off in your brain. And when you're dreaming, you get those same sensations, those see, hear, taste, smell sensations, especially if you've had a sexual dream, that same feeling as if you're next to somebody, but you're sleeping. And your brain's just thinking away without any, consciousness or reasoning as, the consciousness that I have right now, to be reading something or to be speaking to you through a mic. Yeah, I think these are things to think about. I think they help me and they may help you. If you're having, crazy thoughts while you're sleeping, crazy thoughts before you're sleeping, crazy thoughts after you wake up, thoughts of pressure. I believe it's not all in your mind, but a vast majority of it is. And that, shows how it just starts with your mind. Yeah. I think that was a good talk, and I thank you very much for being a part of it with me. If you have any questions about any of this, or you want to discuss anything further, or you want to be like, hey, Mel, what were you talking about when you said this? I am down for that. Hit me. questionsforkml@gmail.com. You can leave comments, anything. I am so down for it. The mind is a powerful thing. It can be very fragile, but it is also always powerful. So I believe you should take care of your mind. Like always, I say do whatever you want. Especially if I know you, I would love that you take care of your mind. If you don't want to take care of your mind, do whatever you want. I am not your ruler. K-Mel rule, I am not your ruler. But still, I would love if you do take care of your mind. The things that you put into it, the TV that you watch, the things that you read, the things that you tell yourself. This is apart from the food you eat, the places you spend time, the people you spend time with. Yeah, I believe your mind is very powerful. And you can create a better world for and around yourself by taking care of it. So shout out to your mind. Shout out to your mind for even being able to listen to me right now. Because without your mind, you wouldn't be able to do that. And hit me with your question. Do you believe your mind is in your brain? I believe so. People have different, opinions about that. But let me know how you feel. What do you think? Where do you believe your mind is? Is your mind your soul? What do you think? Again, thank you for listening to The Golden Rule. This was episode 8. Episode 9 will be coming soon in a month, like always. It is called The Marathon of Life. Maybe think about that before this next episode, how all of these things connect together. Love, the evolution of our hobbies, the relationship umbrella, romantic relationships, sex, infidelity and honesty, and the mind, and how that all connects to our marathon of life. The marathon you're on right now, you may be younger than me, you may be older than me. Shout out to us for exchanging information. Once again, my name is Kim L. Rule. This is The Golden Rule. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great day.